We're finally at the end of this DS Boost Trilogy review series. I've had a fun time going back and playing these games from my childhood, but now it's time to wrap things up with the least voted game on my poll, Sonic Rush Adventure. This game, receiving by far the least amount of votes, made me a little hesitant about looking at this game. I remember not liking certain aspects of the gameplay and story, and I also remember this game not getting much love when I was younger. Even now it doesn't. Was this game not up to snuff with its much loved prequel? Let's break down Sonic Rush Adventure. The story sees Sonic and Tails being transported to Blaze's world after getting caught up in a storm. They befriend an annoying raccoon named Marine, and the three begin sailing around to different islands looking for material while the duo tries to figure out what's going on. The trio run into Captain Whiskers in Coral Cave alongside Blaze. Whiskers makes off with the jeweled scepter and the gang chase the pirate around, eventually confronting him and his assistant Johnny on Pirate Island. Sonic and Blaze defeat the robot pirates and return to their base, where the Eggmen are revealed to be the ones behind the theft of the jeweled scepter, hoping to use it to create their vision for Eggman Land. Sonic and Blaze turn super and defeat the Eggmen. Sonic and Tails share some touching scenes with Marine and Blaze before heading back to their home world. It's a decent story, but there isn't much to it as you play. It doesn't feel as involved as Sonic Rush's story was. The one thing this game does just as well as Rush is story progression. There's a steady build up to meeting Whiskers and Blaze for the first time, and I really enjoyed how the story gets to where it goes. After that, the plot becomes standard, but I appreciate the slower build up to reveals throughout the story. Marine was unbearable. She was funny early on, but also very annoying early on, so I ended up tuning her out for most of the story until the end. The final scenes are some of the best stuff in the game. They were touching, and it's a real shame that there isn't a third Sonic Rush game. Marine is referenced in Colors DS at least, but it'd be nice to see her actual development. Blaze being more prepared and less apprehensive to receiving help was also good to see. Her confidence alongside Sonic makes me want to form a prayer circle and hope for a new game with these two as the main duo. Overall, I'd say Rush Adventure story is good for what it was. Akinori Nishiyama is listed as a producer, but I couldn't find the actual writer for this game. Its pace does remind me of Sonic Adventure 1, which is definitely one of the slower Sonic games in terms of plot progression. Nowhere near as pace pushing as the first Sonic Rush game, but goes at its own, which adds to the game's presentation. Speaking of presentation, the visuals aren't that much better than Rush, but they are impressive in terms of scale. The developers were in their bag with the use of 3D cutscenes and transitions in boss fights. They all have a distinct look and they look good. The boss fights ended up being parts of the game I enjoyed the most because of this. The music of Sonic Rush Adventure aims for a tropical island feel mixed with the usual Sonic sound. This time around, the music is composed by the man himself, Tomoyo Otani, Mariko Nanba, and Seiro Okamoto. The music for this game obviously doesn't have the same feel as Rush 1's music, and it didn't need to. Rush Adventure's music is good. Its theme song, A New Venture, still bangs to this day. I have faint memories of the song being a bit of a meme in the Sonic community many years ago because it's so damn catchy. Great stuff. The overall OST is wonderful. There is no gameplay change between the two Rush games. The only difference is that using the R button, tricks act as finishers so you can start new combos in midair. The boost, tricks, and button mapping are all the same. The major gameplay difference is the level design. I love Sonic Rush, but the platforming segments and beat-em-up rooms that slowed down the pace of the levels and also extended the playtime are real sour points that deduct from how great that game is. Sonic Rush Adventure has none of these segments. An odd platforming section here and there, but they don't slow the levels down at all. The levels in Rush Adventure, much like Colors DS, follow conventional Sonic level design. Top and bottom paths that the player travels along based on their use of the skills given to them. Staying on the top path allows you to keep the tricks flowing and the speed going. Bottom paths usually have tons of enemies that can be used to refill the boost gauge. The levels are also much shorter. Even in some later levels I was clearing them around 2 minutes and 30 seconds, a welcome change from the longer levels of Rush 1. There's a new addition to the gameplay loop of this game, the watercrafts. There are 4 you must control: a water bike, a traditional sailboat, a hovercraft, and a submarine. Before you set sail, you use the stylus to draw a route on the ocean to your next destination. Each of the watercrafts have their own unique minigame sequences. I expected these to be just as bad as I remembered upon playing them. When I was a kid, these sections felt much longer, but this part of the game really isn't bad. You are put in some crazy situations, but it's nothing unbearable. The only problem is how often you have to do them. There's also a bit of trial and error involved in mapping out your paths, which can become tedious. Certain crafts can access certain islands, and sometimes you may not find an island at all. It's a little frustrating, but it's also 2023. This game came out in 2007. Ain't no shame in whipping out a guide for help. You must grind for materials to create the watercrafts, and I thought this would be a problem, but if you perform well enough in each stage, a higher rank gets you more materials, you won't run into this issue maybe more than 2 times during the main story. Still though, grinding elements in a non-RPG inspired Sonic game on the DS is a choice I don't agree with, but luckily you won't have to encounter it much. Materials also allow you to build different things on the island, a cool little cosmetic addition. Just like in Rush 1, you must collect all the 7 Chaos and Soul Emeralds. The 7 emeralds are found by racing Johnny on the water bike at fixed points on the map. Why? Who knows, it's never explained. You get the Soul Emeralds through missions from Gordon, Blaze's assistant, who alerts you to a new sighting of the emeralds. You then go to Marine to play these missions. You unlock missions by completing hidden island stages found on the map. I'm not sure why these hidden islands couldn't just be where you got the Soul Emeralds. This game has tons of elements meant to prolong your playtime experience, but even then, I knocked this game out in a few short hours. So, what's the deal? Is this game nothing more than a forgotten sequel that added unnecessary gameplay elements that greatly hampered the overall experience? My answer is no. Sonic Rush Adventure as a game is far better than it's given credit for. I know that I've said this for the other 2 games I've looked at in this miniseries, but I'm being honest. Sonic Rush Adventure does very little wrong from its gameplay to its story and overall presentation, but it seems like this game hasn't gotten a fair shake from many people despite being so good. This game truly deserves more love, and you can bet that I'll be singing its praises from now on. That concludes this Boost Trilogy review series. I had a blast playing some of my childhood games again. I hope to do more of these, but before then, I gotta get back in my Sonic theory bag, so be on the lookout for more of that coming soon. Shout out to you for watching, stick around and check out the channel for more Sonic goodness. I'm out, peace.